Network Entertainment.
I don't see Carlito being a member of Judgment Day. This is just a quick storyline. Just like with the R-Truth thing, yeah, he's in there, but he's not. He's really not. And they're just telling this story of Dominic, who keeps on bringing people to the Judgment, even though Damian wants them to be a tight-knit group nga. So this is a story that they've been telling. Yun nga, papunta rin to eventually to them kicking out Damian because Damian keeps on denying them or keeps on getting mad at his this crew.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Star, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Chino and Emile Nate with a live stream for this week. And I'm just going to do a quick intro right here because my internet conveniently dipped out right as the show was about to start. So what you're about to hear is the bedlam that ensued kasi nawala lang ako for 2 minutes. Thanks, internet. Thank you, technology. Life. Here we go.
You are now listening and watching the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Chino Liao and Emile Nate and Stancy will be joining us in a quick second or two. Joining you on this Thursday night, this very humid Thursday night. Diba, Emile? Is it humid where you're at right now?
Yes, it is. Kung sa Metro Manila, umuulan na. Dito sa parte ng Laguna, hindi pa rin umuulan till now. Papatak-patak lang, pero it's not yung buhos and like what we're getting in Metro Manila in the last
honestly, yung ulan namin din dito, malakas pa yung ihi ko minsan eh. Ito lang. It's not enough, man. It's just way too hot to be sustained.
Gusto ko yung nawala lang ako. We're now talking about Chino's piss. What the hell happened?
That's what happens. I don't know what to tell you. It's a natural transition.
Just went out the window. Jeez. All right, you guys started the show, right? Because like I got eaten out right as the OBB ended.
Yes,
right.
We're talking about the weather. Cool. We're talking about the weather and how hot it is and rain and all that. And
your pace, clearly.
And my pace, comparing it to the rain. That's the context. Yes.
That much is clear from when I popped in. Okay. All right. Sure. All right. We're going to start things off by letting you know we actually have a viewing party for King and Queen of the Ring that is happening at Hobby Stadium. So our good friends over there have linked up with us. And we are running this viewing party on May 26th. That's a Sunday. And the main show starts at 1 a.m. So walang tulugan, Master Showman. Basically until Money in the Bank. So 1 a.m. ang start time natin for Backlash and then King and Queen of the Ring and Clash at the Castle Scotland. Lahat yan. All right. So May 26, 1 a.m. Doors open at the stroke of midnight sa Hobby Stadium. Wala tayong pre-register or early bird tickets. So you just come in, you pay walk-in tickets at 350 pesos. They come with a free iced tea. And Glendale was saying that it's a loaded weekend. You're damn right it's a loaded weekend because you've got the DexCon meet and greet where you can say hi to Zack Sabre Jr. on Saturday. And then if you want to take a nap or go home or as Chino likes to do, talk about his piss, you can do that and then head on over to Hobby Stadium right afterward, enjoy your viewing party and then go home and sleep and dream about piss and then come right back for more wrestling when DexCon happens on Sunday night. And then you get
Parang
Double or
masyado
Nothing on Monday. Thank you, France.
parang nagde-deal, masyado ka nagle-lean into the piss part, but okay. But yes, a lot of wrestling happening over the weekend. So sana supportan yung mga viewing parties and meet and greets that will happen.
Oh, sobrang dami ganap, I swear. So if you don't get out wrestling by your wrestling fandom on by the end of that weekend, God bless you. Kasi sobrang dami ganap talaga. May the wrestling gods bless us all. All right, let's talk about Patreon, where ang dami na namang ganap as usual. Emile, let the people know what they can get if they are part of our Patreon program.
All right, so if you're part of our Patreon program, you're supporting everything that we do here. The link is right there below. Yan, sa ating ticker, patreon.com/wrestling podcast. Which those $5 to 250 to 260 pesos in our local currency. You get benefits, of course. One of those is the Discord server where you can interact with us, talk to us about anything. And we also hold some viewing parties in there once in a while. Probably Double or Nothing next week. But we'll probably have a virtual watch party over there on our Discord server. Also, you got the review content of the weekly wrestling shows, courtesy of us, almost all of us at this point. Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Impact. So lahat na yun. Also, the Pasabays, the last one just concluded. So if you want to join in on the next one and want to get some preferential rates on the service fees, so you can subscribe. And again, by subbing or subscribing, you're supporting everything that we do here on the pod. Again, going strong for 10 years. Right here, right there's the link, patreon.com/wrestling podcast.
All right, maraming salamat, Emile. Clearly, Rose not here, so we're gonna have some happy stand noises as we tell you about Blast TV. All right, so WWE on Blast TV, the legit way to go if you want to catch your weekly television shows from the WWE, mula Raw to NXT to SmackDown live and on demand. San ka pa? And you can get it for free if you are a Converge or a Globe at Home subscriber, which I am. I'm a happy Converge subscriber. I do get to watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT live while I'm doing chores like a proper ass adult. And if I do miss a certain segment, ginagawa ko siyang parang movie. And I pick up right there sa live part, and then I start all over on demand when that stuff's available as early as 2 or 3 p.m. I swear, that's one of the best things about the Blast TV deal. The fact that it's already available on demand by the time I'm ready for my afternoon nap, all right? If you're not a Converge or Globe at Home subscriber, I believe the subscription fee is at a low price of 169 or 189 pesos between those amounts. So, WWE on Blast TV. Ito pa, pampabuenas for those who love your sitcoms. If you are a fan of The Office and The Good Place like I am, it's a good forking deal to get yourself to Dunder Mifflin and to the good old days of both sitcoms, whether it's The Good Place or The Bad Place, or what a lot of people would call purgatory, yung mga Dunder Mifflins in their lives. Then go ahead and catch those series on Blast TV. All right?
Ako din,
there.
like, sobrang daming bagong content ngayon sa Blast TV. So kahit hindi kayo WWE fan, you can check out Blast TV again. Blast TV na rin. Because yesterday, I was, before I was watching NXT, nakita ko yung A Walk to Remember, which is one of my favorite chick flicks of all time. So I watched it from the beginning to end before watching some wrestling, and talagang sulit. So go check out Blast TV. It's free for Converge and Globe users.
Did you cry again when you found out Jamie was gonna die?
Every time. Every time I watch that movie. Sobra.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad to know that for one of us, it's still real, you know. Shane West and Mandy Moore 5 ever, or whatever it was we said back in 2004. God, that movie's 20 years old. Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nakakagulat din.
All right, let's talk about some wrestling. We're gonna start with Monday Night Raw, where nakita natin na babyface na si Damian Priest. Maybe not fully, maybe not 100%, but the face turn has begun. And we clearly saw it nung nakatapat niya si Drew McIntyre on the mic. McIntyre still railing against CM Punk and blaming him for all of the misfortunes in his life. And Damian Priest was like, kung meron kang problema, you go look at the mirror and blame the a-hole that's staring right back at you, which was as babyface as Damian Priest can get in this iteration of his character. So, Chino, what do you think about this development for the World Heavyweight Champion?
I think it's good that they juxtaposed his character alongside Drew McIntyre, because as heelish as both of them may appear to be, si Drew talaga, current Drew, is so unlikable now. And I think that's the point, diba? Because he's a hypocrite, because he likes to blame other people for his mistakes, all the reasons mentioned by Priest in his promo. So, ang ganda din na they were able to capitalize on that and say na, teka lang, kahit heel ako and heel yung stable ko, mas kupal ka pa rin, Drew McIntyre. Diba? So I totally get why they had to do that, because if they were both heels, then who would we cheer for? Diba? The WWE doesn't really like to play that heel versus heel aesthetic as much as the other companies do. So, in this regard, storytelling-wise, I think panalo tayo dito.
Ako din naman, since Cody went to SmackDown and Seth took a break, medyo may may blank spot doon for the top babyface on the Raw side. And as much as Jey Uso is one of the most popular guys on the roster, I just can't see him as that guy. So Damian Priest, I think bagay siya dun eh. And they've been planting seeds of Damian Priest turning face ever since he won the title, diba? Nakita natin yung backlash where he doesn't want Judgment Day to interfere in his match. That's kind of a baby face move on his part. So kahit at the end, nagkasundo pa din sila, but in a way you could see na they're teasing they're teasing the fact that we're turning this guy into a babyface.
Maganda tong nilagay ni Dr. G na Damian Priest was seen yeeting with Jey Uso at a WWE live event. And as we all know, itong mga live events or the house shows, as we call them in the industry, ito yung parang petri dish, diba? Or petri dish, where they do their experiments, they look at potential matchups that they could bring to TV, or they check to see kung meron mang chemistry itong si wrestler A and wrestler B. So, Damian yeeting with Jey Uso is a pretty good sign that Damian Priest is turning back into a babyface.
Interesting din to kasi while Damian Priest is a face now, Judgment Day is still very much heels. So, parang nagdo-double down pa rin sila sa potential breakup, I think. Because everybody, their motives are now crisscrossed, diba? Parang wala silang delineation. I want to see this confrontation happen wherein they sit Priest down, or Finn and JD and Dom huddle up with Priest and say, teka lang, anong ginagawa natin? Where's this going? Diba? Wala na si Rhea Ripley, nagkakagulo na tayo. So I think that's also awesome on their end, storytelling-wise.
Yeah, ano naman talaga, I think they're just really delaying the inevitable, which is the Judgment Day turning on Damian Priest and kicking him out of the group, right? So I think doon naman talaga patungo siya, it's just taking the long roundabout way of getting there. Let's say hi to It's a Boy. Hindi siya plural so it's not the New Day, diba? Because if it's a boy, it's the New Day.
New Day.
It's a boy.
Pero singular siya so it's a boy siya lang.
Yeah.
Right.
What's up?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's move on. Let's pick up and talk about Ilya Dragunov and Jey Uso, who had a pretty good match on Monday Night Raw as part of the second round of the King of the Ring tournament. And I guess we're not getting an undefeated streak for Ilya here on the main roster, with Jey Uso being the first superstar to pin the Tsar on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, this is going to be my pick for next week. Very hard-hitting match, as always, coming from Ilya Dragunov. But also very surprising na natalo siya. I would have thought they would have preserved that win streak a little bit longer. But I guess hindi pwede yun on the main roster, especially when you're facing somebody as hot as Jey Uso is right now. Parang hindi ko ma-imagine yung King and Queen of the Ring PLE without Jey Uso, pero parang kaya ko naman imagine without Ilya, diba? So at the end of the day, it's really just it's a matter of who's more over, and I think si Jey Uso panalo siya sa part na yun.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually mad about the result of this match because, of course, they want to see Ilya versus Gunter. But like I said last week, it's too early for that. and I want to give Ilya versus Gunter the proper build that it deserves. And plus, sa din naisip ko, Jey Uso is a first round pick ng Raw. So, sobrang naman if matatalo siya ng someone who was picked later in the draft in Ilya Dragunov. So, in kayfabe, it made sense that Jey got the better of Ilya Dragunov. And, plus, Jey is at a point where alam na naman natin na si Gunter yung magpa-finals at this point. It's just that Jey Uso is a credible challenger for Gunter na yes, he could take a loss, but his credibility will still be there. So I'm okay with the result. Yung sa mga tao naghihintay ng Gunter vs. Ilya, konting hintay pa. They will give that match to us at some point.
Emile, I'm glad na you actually care about draft position here because you're the only person aside from Solo Sikoa who is actually still railing about the draft results.
Okay, like, di ba? First pick nila this. First pick nila si Jey Uso eh. So
it's real to Emile. It's real to Emile, man.
Yeah. Let's say what's up to Naisha Vales, who's watching us all the way from Malaysia. Maraming salamat. So I think Naisha is Pinoy. Probably in Malaysia for either work or school or whatever. But thank you for joining us, Naisha. Going back to yung usapan nina about Ilya and Jey Uso and Gunther, there was a nice little stare down after the match. Gunther stared down Ilya and then looked at Jey Uso kasi sila magtatapat next week in the Raw bracket finals. So that was nice. It was a nice little nod to Gunther and Ilya Dragunov's relationship as well. And yung biggest fear ni Raw for Ilya heading off to the main roster is that he would be taking Giovanni Vinci's spot in Imperium, but based on that little stare down, maybe they're actually headed towards a collision course somewhere down the road.
It'd be great if dun nga siya papunta. I can also easily see them doing both things, a la Brian joining the Wyatt family. Diba? Parang ganung angle yung kukunin nila with Ilya joining and then turning on Gunther mid Imperium run and thus leading to a Imperium's downfall. I don't necessarily know kung doon nga siya papunta, but it would be nice to see, diba? Because it also allows for people a deeper insight into the history between Ilya and Gunther, especially if hindi ka nanood ng NXT during their runs.
Mm-hmm. I just can't see Ilya joining Imperium kasi Ilya and Gunther are eternal rivals. It's like Kevin Durant joining Golden State. It's just too big.
Emile, that happened.
Emile,
that actually happened.
No, yun na nga eh.
He did join Golden State though.
If that happens, it would be, I don't think if the crowd's perception to it will be good. Kasi Ilya will always be Gunther's rival. I can't see them teaming up.
All right. So we'll take a break. When we come back, pag-usapan natin si Carlito and how he's trying to be cool with the Judgment Day. More of that right after this quick word from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Magandang araw para sa mga mas nakaka-lurky na storya,
mas masayang kwentuhan,
mas nakakautot sa kaligayahan na chismisan,
mga kaabang-abang na storya.
Aba, tutok na lagi sa Tambalan Podcast.
All right, so let's get to the Judgment Day and the latest chapter in their story. Aside from Damian Priest turning face, you've got Finn Balor and JD McDonough who have now started tagging together kasi I guess Damian Priest doesn't want to tag with Finn anymore now that he's world champion. So it's Finn and JD who have just become #1 contenders with the help of Carlito, who is the new amigo that Dominic Mysterio is trying to bring into the Judgment Day. So it's kind of funny how ito si Dom has tried to bring in Andrade and now Carlito. And si Priest, he's always the guy who's like, yo, get out. Hindi ka naman part ng crew namin eh.
Yeah, it's funny kasi it's the same R-Truth storyline, only dito may backer siya. Diba? In Dominic Mysterio. Now, if it actually leads to Carlito joining the storyline, is another thing entirely. Nakakatawa lang na dito siya pumunta. He left his old group, which is yung LWO, to join this new group, which is the Judgment Day. So parang hindi niya kaya mag-isa, I guess. Is that what's happening here? Is Carlito just really looking for a new group to feed off of? I don't know.
What a weird mix of guys. You got Latinos and then you got people from Ireland in the same group. You'd never thought a group would compose of people who are of those two countries. Pero
Emile, maghanap tayo ng mga Latino-Irish couple, because you make it sound like it's such a rare thing and you completely missed Rhea Ripley.
Oo nga pala. But wala si Rhea ngayon sa group eh. Even though she is in the group, she's not currently doing anything with Judgment Day because of the injury. Pero mabalik kay Carlito. I don't see Carlito being a member of Judgment Day. This is just a quick storyline, just like with the R-Truth thing. Yeah, he's in there, but he's not. He's really not. And they're just telling this story of Dominic, who keeps on bringing people to the Judgment, even though Damian wants them to be a tight-knit group nga. So this is a story that they've been telling. Yun nga, papunta rin to eventually to them kicking out Damian because Damian keeps on denying them or keeps on getting mad at his this crew.
Nakakatuwa to pag ang ending nito is Carlito becomes the leader of the Judgment Day. Okay, if that's where this ends up, it'll be so dumb and so funny at the same time.
Emile, since binanggit mo kanina na, it's pretty interesting how you've got Finn and JD representing the Irish, the Puerto Ricans being represented by Damian and Carlito, and then Dominic Mysterio being Mexican-American. Would you rather have yung ganyang klaseng parang, kind of random, but also maybe sort of intentional with Finn and JD's part, at least? Or something like the League of Nations where they're all from specific countries and ethnicities?
Nah, I'd rather have yung mix ng Judgment Day because must make diversity, pero the diversity is not the point of the group. You know what I mean? It's like the San Antonio Spurs of WWE, just people from different places coming in together for a purpose.
Gusto ko yung napaka rose-colored ng ng memory natin of the League of Nations. Diversity pala yung pinaglalaban nila.
I mean, that's basically European supremacists, but okay.
That was the point.
Dude, Alberto Del Rio is not European.
I mean,
that was the point of the gimmick.
Whatever supremacy they were fighting for. Basta,
they were a rogues gallery na kalaban ni Roman Reigns. Nagkataon lang na iba-iba sila ng country of origin.
I think if I think if anything, mas maganda na to kaysa dun sa race wars na pinipilit nilang ibalik, diba? Like Latino kami, or Latino din kami, diba? Or black people. Like, I think this is, yes, that exists still. Pero again, yung diversity being there is great, but it's also not the point of the group. Diba? Yung point ng group ng Judgment Day dati is because they wanted to be harbingers of whatever. Diba? Same with the Final Testament. Diba? That's what they're doing now, and they're also of different origin. So maganda din to for the run of the group in the long run kasi hindi sila nag-rely on that race card.
Yeah. Yun, the Final Testament, magandang binanggit mo yun, Chino. That's another group na iba-iba sila ng race. All right, let's go to this heartwarming moment on Monday Night Raw where right before the Gunther versus Kofi Kingston match, she had Samantha Irvin in the middle of the ring, and she called in legendary ring announcer Lilian Garcia. And, on one hand, it's nice that Lilian Garcia is finally getting her flowers, but on the other, Lilian Garcia, the voice that at least my generation grew up to as the ring announcer of Raw, being called a legend, it's another reminder for me to take my maintenance meds. The fact that Lilian's probably closer to the Hall of Fame than I am to my childhood is another reminder of my age. But it's great to see both of them putting each other over and showing a lot of love to one another.
Minsan nakakalimutan ko kung gaano na ako katagal nanonood ng wrestling. Then shit like this happens. Like, oh, right. Masakit na yung tuhod ko. All right. That makes sense. That's a thing that happens now. But no, good job on them bringing back Lilian Garcia. If only for one night. Diba? Kasi, I mean, si Stan, sabi niya, he grew up with Lilian. I didn't really do that. But I do recognize her as an important part of a certain portion of my wrestling fandom, diba? Siya yung naging voice. And yes, honestly, people have taken Lilian Garcia for granted, diba? Because yung time ng WWE na yun, it was like she was just there. Dahil wala pang social media masyado nun. But now that we're bringing exposure to ring announcers like Samantha Irvin, like Alicia Taylor, diba? At least ngayon si Lilian Garcia is also getting the recognition that she should have gotten when she was active in the WWE. So kudos to the WWE for bringing her back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a nice moment. Ganun din, when I started watching wrestling, it was Lilian Garcia talaga, who was the main ring announcer alongside Justin Roberts. So kinalakihan ko din si Lilian Garcia, and to see her, to see this moment na Samantha Irvin acknowledged Lilian Garcia, and also Lilian giving Samantha her flowers. It was a nice moment, and sobrang bonus yung in-announce ni Lilian si Kofi Kingston as he entered the ring for his match against Gunther. So that was a nice bit of moment right there.
Yeah, you love to see it. This is the type of moment I actually want in my wrestling, diba? Where we pay tribute to those who paved the way. Lilian walked so Samantha could run, diba? As some might say. Not yung discourse coming out of WrestleMania 40 where the old heads were like, "Oh, why is this Mark still in the in this job or whatever? She shouldn't be crying. She should be a professional." All that stuff. So it's nice na at least nagpivot sa ganitong klaseng vibes yung usapan natin. Yeah, itong si Iger, dude, you have to correct us. Let us know how to properly pronounce your name. I don't want to mess it up. But he does bring up the tandem of Lilian Garcia and Tony Chimmel. Yun yung exact pairing na kinalakhan ko in the early 2000s.
Yep.
Si Chimmel sa SmackDown, si Lilian sa Raw. So
yeah. You know, Lilian was such a huge part of Monday Night Raw that she even was involved in a storyline. Remember the Viscera story? So they had the Snitsky, I believe it was Snitsky and Viscera and Lilian Garcia storyline. Parang even though it is sort of cringy to look back on it, the fact that the ring announcer was actually part of a story that didn't involve them getting absolutely humiliated was, a step forward in my book at least.
Parang naputol yata in the middle yung story na yun, diba? It didn't really have a clear ending. So I guess she shaved face in that regard, diba?
Yeah. Yes, Glendale and Martin, that was during Viscera's time as the world's largest love machine. Right before they hit the reset on him, put him on ECW and made him Big Daddy V. So RIP to Big Vis, who's no longer with us. Good times. In the mid-2000s. That's going to do it for this half of the audio-only version of the live stream. If you refresh your feeds, lalabas na yung part 2 where we talk about Christopher Daniels being fired by the Young Bucks on AEW Dynamite, Darby Allin with his miraculous return at the end of Dynamite after only 2 months since nabundol siya ng bus. And we'll also be talking about Joe Hendry making it all the way to number 4 of the UK singles charts organically. The biggest mainstream crossover moment for TNA in about a decade. All of that should be up on your feeds in part 2 of the live stream. On behalf of Ro Moran and Rowan ASH, who can't be here, as well as Emile Nate and Chino Liao, my name is Stan C, ending another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast, out. Later, Outcasts. Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.